Chair now calls Kimberly Rubio. We have you registered as Kimberly Rubio, testifying, representing yourself in favor of the bill.
That's correct.
Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, please continue.
My name is Kimberly Rubio. I am the mother of Lexi Rubio, a victim of the Robb Elementary shooting in Uvalde. This is my husband, Felix, and Lexi's father. I arrived here today at 8 a.m. And as we waited more than 13 hours, I'm reminded of May 24th, 2022, when we waited hours to be told our daughter would never come home. I expressed confusion then, and I'm perplexed now. Did you think we would go home? Chairman King, thank you for filing the bill and for everything you've done for the families in our community. Chairman Ian, thank you for giving the bill a hearing. Every day since May 24th, 2022, I replay alternate scenarios in my head. Scenarios in which Lexi is still with us today. What if I'd kept her in the district's dual language program and she would have been at Anton Elementary that day? What if she'd caught a stomach bug that week instead of the previous and she'd have been homesick? What if I'd taken her home after the 10:30 a.m. award ceremony? Then she'd have been safe and sound at my great-grandma's house. Standing before you today, I wonder if on May 24th, you watched coverage of Uvalde unfold and wondered what you could have done to prevent this tragedy. Did you look at images of children running for their lives and think, what if we had enacted stricter gun laws? Did you consider the children still inside? Those, like our daughter, who would never emerge? Did you imagine what it would feel like to bury your child? Sit with that image as we do, because only when you imagine will you, as Texas lawmakers, take necessary action, including voting for House Bill 2744. Had this bill been the law in the state of Texas 1 year ago, the gunman would not have been able to purchase the semi-automatic weapon he used to murder our daughter and 20 others 8 days after his 18th birthday. It's too late for us. No action you take will bring back our daughter. But you do have the opportunity to honor Lexi's life and legacy by voting for House Bill 2744. Which will make our community safer and save lives. Mr. Chairman, to conclude, I have one ask of you in this committee. Allow this committee to vote on House Bill 2744. I have hope that collectively you will have the will, the courage, the judgment, and the strength to do what is just and right. Our hearts may be broken, but our resolve has never been stronger. 21 for 21, let's raise the age.
Members, any questions? Yes. Representative Bowers? No? All right, thank you. The chair now calls Veronica Mata. We have you registered as Veronica Mata, representing yourself in favor of the bill. Is that correct?
Yes.
Please continue.
Good evening. My name is Veronica Mata, and I am Tess's mom. Today, my husband, Jerry, and our oldest daughter, Faith, are here to speak on behalf of Tess. Unfortunately, Tess can no longer be here to speak for herself. After losing her life in her fourth grade classroom at just 10 years old. Tess was our spontaneous and loving little diva. She loved making TikToks, playing softball, and gymnastics. Although Tess didn't get to see her Houston Astros win the World Series, she loved them and Jose Altuve. And the one person Tess loved most in this world was her older sister, Faith, who she wanted to be just like. As parents, it is our responsibility to protect our children. As representatives, it is your responsibility to protect your communities and state. We both failed to protect what is important. And just to be clear, that is our children. I failed as a parent for not protecting my daughter that day. And you, representatives, are failing these communities in our state by choosing to use your own beliefs and personal gains to continue to make mistakes. You see, if the age limit would have been 21, my daughter, 18 of her friends, and 2 of her teachers would still be alive today. When constituents vote you in, they vote you in to be their voice, not for you to put your beliefs first. I can almost guarantee you that those of you that are against raising the age from 18 to 21 have not gone and asked your constituents what they think because you choose your political position to benefit yourself. The representatives that are against raising the age from 18 to 21 are clearly over the age of 21, so this bill would not affect you from obtaining this weapon. A weapon that over 376 law enforcement officers were afraid of in Uvalde. You are choosing to protect the NRA and not your people. For those of you that met with my family and several other families, we thank you for listening. That is what good representatives do. They sit and they listen to their constituents. Although they might not agree with us, but they know that as a representative, their job is to represent the people, not to represent themselves. So I leave you with one thing. Tess didn't have a choice in life or death, but you as leaders have a choice of what my daughter's life will be remembered for. Will she die in vain, or will her life have saved another child, maybe your child? 18 to 21 isn't much to ask. As a grieving mother, I'm begging you to please hear me out and don't let my daughter's murder mean nothing to you. Thank you.
Members, any questions? Thank you. Chair now calls Javier Cazares. We have you registered as Javier Cazares, representing yourself in favor of the bill. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Please continue.
My name is Javier Cazares, from Uvalde, Texas. My daughter, Jackie Cazares. I go back to the first day seeing my daughter in her little white dress laying in that coffin, and begin to wonder what might be right through her mind, in her voice. I'm confused. Why all the sadness in my family's faces and the continuous crying of others as they pass me one by one? What did I do wrong? I try to tell everyone that I'm okay. I raise my voice louder and louder, but no response. Why can't anyone hear me? Is it because of the loud noises that came into my classroom? Or is it the long beep? The long beep coming from the heart monitor. My baby girl is full of life and love. She never learned how to ride her bike. Never made it to the 5th grade. will never experience her 15th birthday, prom, graduation from high school, college, and becoming a vet, visiting Paris, or even falling in love because she was taken by being brutally murdered at 9 years old along with her 18 classmates and 2 teachers, but an 18-year-old gunman. We're here to support HB 2744 and raising the age from 18 to 21 to purchase an assault rifle. I believe many Texans, that this will have some type of effect in stopping future mass shootings. We're not here to take anyone's guns away. That's far from the truth. I'm a gun owner. I believe in the Second Amendment right. I'm a concealed carrier. So, again, we're not here for that. All we are asking is for reasonable common gun sense laws. My daughter here next to me was trying to buy super glue at Walmart the other day and was flagged for being under 18. But this kid was able to buy an AR-15 back-to-back, 1,000 rounds of ammo, bulletproof vest, 60 rounds of mags. I mean, what's wrong with this picture? I don't want you to see what I saw. I saw my 9-year-old daughter draped in a white sheet, cold and alone in an operating room. I saw the wound that took her life. I don't want any of y'all to see that. We need to change these laws. Please have an open mind and please pass this law. Thank you, and be on the right side of history. Thank you.
Members, any questions? Thank you, sir.
Questions? Thank you.
Chairman Moody.
I don't have a question on Mr. Cazares. I just want to thank you, and also to the other witnesses that came before you. We can't possibly imagine the challenge it is to be here, and it's not lost upon us the amount of waiting that's been done today as well. So we're grateful for you taking the time to be here and sharing a very incredibly challenging and difficult story, because people need to hear it. And
Thank you.
We're grateful for you being here.
Thank you, sir.
Yes. Representative Bowers.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And thank you so much for staying all day and for, coming to your state capitol to share, this terribly tragic story that we have all been enduring. And I can't imagine what you're going through still. My heart goes out to you and your family and all the families. I want to say again, as Chair Moody said, thank you to all the families that are here and that have already testified. And I just have to say that for some time I have been saying that this is the least that we can do. And thank you, Chairman King, for standing up and filing this bill, and so thank you for coming.
Again, I want to thank you all for that took their time and speaking with us as well. Thank you once more.
Thank you.
Any other questions, members? Thank you, sir. The chair now calls Nikki Cross. We have you registered as Nikki Cross, representing yourself in favor of the bill. Is that correct?
Yes.
Please continue.
My son is Uzziah Garcia, and we lost him in the Robb Elementary shooting. I did not prepare a speech for you guys today. I'm just a mom. I'm not even sure which one of you exactly, or sometimes are Democratic or Republican, because I don't care. I just don't want any of you to sit here where I'm sitting. I don't want you to have to identify your child's body based on what he was wearing to school that day. I don't want any more children to hide under their desks in fear. I don't want any more teachers to worry about how they're going to protect several students at once when they're just one person. So I don't come to you as a Democrat or Republican. I just come to you as a mom, as a parent. Enough is enough. Please do something. Do something now. Don't wait until another community has to go through this. Thank you.
You can wait there. Chair now members, any questions? Chair now calls Brett Cross. We have you registered as Brett Cross, representing yourself in favor of the bill. Is that
Correct.
Please
Yes,
continue.
So, it's been a long day. Everybody got their pillows and blankets. First, I'd like to preface this by saying thank you so much to every member who has met and heard from us. This goes to the ones who refused and turned down our meetings, that wanted to only offer thoughts and prayers. Thoughts and prayers. I'm so sick of hearing those three words from our elected officials. While your prayers may have comforted you, they did nothing to absolve our pain. While you may think about May 24th, we live it every single day. While you pray that your children grow up to be healthy and happy, contributing members of society, we pray that our children knew we were doing everything we could to get to them in that school to protect them. Your thoughts and prayers didn't stop an 18-year-old from purchasing 2 high-powered semi-automatic rifles and all of those rounds of ammunition. Your thoughts and prayers didn't stop us from having to bury our children and 2 teachers. Your thoughts and prayers do not help the children that survived, that were injured. Your thoughts and prayers haven't done anything in the 329 days since Uzziah was shot through his stomach, exiting his spine. Your thoughts and prayers are useless unless you have thought and prayed for legislation that you can help enact that could change this. Now, for those that want to argue about the Second Amendment, let me explain. A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. How does moving the age from 18 to 21 infringe? Does it infringe on our 13-year-olds' right to purchase these? I mean, why can't 6-year-olds buy them? I'm a gun owner myself, and most logical law-abiding gun owners agree. There's no language in or around the Second Amendment that's state and age. Everybody wants to talk infringement, but you know what was infringed? Uzziah's chance to live a life full of liberty and any chance to pursue happiness. Rights that you enable to be infringed upon by not just every child in Texas, but every adult as well, by not voting this out of committee and getting it heard on the House floor. I think a lot of you will do what is right, and I pray that the ones who have avoided taking our meetings will see that changing the age from 18 to 21 will save lives. Because who knows when you'll be in our shoes. And you will beat yourself up for not doing everything in your power to prevent it from happening to you. Because in this day and age, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. Also, because I know we're going to hear this, to the gentlemen who oppose saying, let's connect the dots, we can connect them with Uzi's exit wounds. Your thoughts and prayers are empty. Legislation is not. Thank you.
Members, any questions? Thank you, sir. Chair now calls Angel Garza. We have you registered as Angel Garza, representing yourself in favor of the bill.
Yes, sir, that is correct.
Please continue.
Good evening, members of the committee. I thank you for taking the time. Alongside with me here is my fiance, Kimberly Garcia. We're here today because our 10-year-old daughter, Amory Jo Garza, was shot and killed by an assault rifle. A weapon so powerful, a single bullet was able to enter her lower back and traveled up through her diaphragm, piercing 2 organs and while ripping through her myocardium. It breaks my heart as her father thinking about Amory's little body clutching onto her friend, only wishing that some way she could be with her mommy and daddy. After dropping off Amory that morning, I had no idea that "I love you, Daddy" would be the last words I would ever hear come out of her little mouth. No idea that I would get her sunflower backpack back with bullet holes in it. No idea that the phone Mom and I got her 14 days before on her 10th birthday would be retrieved by her in order to save her friends and teachers. Was it my fault? What could I have done? Why didn't I take her home? What was she thinking? What did she do wrong? Just a few of the many questions that drive you insane in this horrible reality. Do you have any idea what it feels like trying to make sure my 4-year-old son doesn't forget his older sister? How painful it is to think that one day he won't even remember his last moments with her. I think a lot about the reasons other than money why we would allow 18-year-old teenagers to purchase a weapon so powerful. Coming from a country where mental health seems to be such a major concern, what sense does it make to give a child access to that kind of firepower? The human brain doesn't even fully develop until our 20s, including the frontal lobe, which is responsible for decision-making and self-management, being one of the last parts to completely form. We've tried to come up with countless ways to solve this increasingly drastic problem, from beginning with more police, hiring more counseling, to actually arming some of our teachers. All the money being spent on these alternatives could easily make up the loss of profit from raising the age. I've never been into politics. This isn't about red or blue. We all have disagreements, and we all have differences. But I think we can all agree on one thing. America has a serious crisis, and we need to start somewhere to solve this issue. We do everything to protect these guns. Let's just try something to protect our children. That's all I have.
Members, any questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Chair now calls Berlinda Arreola. We have you registered as Berlinda Arreola, representing yourself in favor of the bill. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Please continue.
Good evening, members of the committee. Thank you for taking the time to listen to us tonight. Thank you, Mr. King, for everything that you are doing as well. As a step-grandmother to Amory Joe Garza, I face a double whammy. The gentleman you just spoke to right before is my son. So not only did I lose my granddaughter, but I also lost my son. And seeing him hurt every single day, trying to live life as normal as they can for my grandson. It's just something that you just can't. Nobody can imagine. It's hard. It's just one of those boo-boos that mommy can't kiss away. When you lose a child, a grandchild, step-grandchild, in that sense, it takes you to a place. It takes you to a very dark place. We sit here and talk about mental health. What happens in a massacre? It creates more mental problems, more mental health. I've always been the backbone to my family, thinking that I was always the strong one. I can get through anything. Going through that massacre is something that I couldn't deal with. I went to a place that I could not even imagine being. I'm at that place where I watch all my surroundings. I go to a parade and I'm looking up in the buildings, making sure there's not a shooter up in the buildings. I come here and I'm looking for all the exits, even though there's DPS officers and very well protected. I'm still looking around because I can't even trust
law officers. After all, were scared of that AR. There's no cure for mental health, but gun violence is preventable. Gun violence also creates mental health problems, so it's a never-ending cycle. We have to break this cycle somehow, some way, and raising the age limit is just a start. Everybody goes to the Constitution, but we all know that that Constitution is outdated. I believe that if it could be changed, I'm pretty sure everybody would be trying to change it to update it. It's not for 18-year-olds to have, and the 18-year-olds that have it are in military, are trained to have it. If the FFL doesn't want to do paperwork, then stop selling them. Or better yet, why not just ban them altogether if it's a problem doing paperwork? We need to stop making excuses for these guns. We need to stop letting the NRA control us. I beg of you to please vote for to raise the age limit. Thank you for your time.
Members, any questions? Thank you. Chair now calls Jacqueline Gonzalez. We have you registered as Jacqueline Gonzalez, representing yourself in favor of the bill. Is that correct?
Yes.
Please proceed.
My name is Jacqueline Gonzalez, and I support House Bill 2774, and I live in Uvalde. I'm a licensed professional counselor there. I often wonder why I was there. Why was I in Uvalde? And I'd like to think that y'all all have been appointed in the same way that I have, to be a voice. Because I don't want to be here, and I know it's hard for y'all to hear these stories. It's hard, because it does create a trauma within you. It's hard. But I ask you all to listen to these families and to understand them, and to know that it takes every ounce of courage for them to be here. Every ounce of courage to speak about their children's deaths. It means so much that Representative Moody and Representative King spoke, because I know I only have 2 minutes, and y'all said so much, because it meant so much to me that you spoke about these children's lives and what it meant for them to go to school that day on May 24th. They didn't know they were going to war. They didn't know. Irma Garcia and Eva Mireles, teachers, were human shields to those children. 19 children died. There was 11 that were in that room for 77 minutes. Prisoners of war. We have children that are suffering through prisoners of war, PTSD. Vietnam veterans suffer with that. And I just want you to imagine, if you have a child in your life, a niece or a nephew, I want you to imagine how you explain that to them, how they're always looking out the window because he's coming. He's coming. I have children that are afraid in school. They're afraid. And what do we tell them to do? Line up against the wall. Huddle. be quiet. And meanwhile, they watch the window, wondering, will I be next? It's not fair to them, and they deserve so much better. There is a reason why we need this. We need this age increase, this age limit. It's because there's people that are really suffering with mental illness and they're ready to die. And unfortunately, they don't have the courage to take their own life. So they go in and they pick an AR-15, and all of the pain and anger they have in their hearts, they go out and they inflict it on children, on people, on us. And you know what? Yes, there is a right to bear arms, but these children deserve a right to live. They deserve a right to an education free of war. Free of war. They should not have to worry about that. And I know I'm almost out of time, but I have Usaya's picture here. And I often look through my own pictures and try to see where my daughter was at 9 or 10. And I imagine what it would be like if my daughter's life was robbed at that time. Their lives were robbed. They can't choose what they're going to be in life. They can't choose if they're going to go and get married or have children. It was robbed. The First Amendment, the Second Amendment right, they don't even have a right to even go do that. These children deserve more, and you are their voice. I ask you to do that today. I know I'm out of time, but when you first started this position, whenever it was, however long ago it was, you chose this because of the injustices in the world. You know that. I know that's why you chose this, because you wanted to fight for people. Be the voice for the unheard children, for the ones that are dead and the ones that are living. They deserve a chance, and we all deserve a chance to live. Thank you.
Thank you. Members, any questions? Chair now calls Christina Zamora. We have you registered as Christina Zamora, representing yourself in favor of the bill. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Please continue.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee. My name is Christina Zamora. I am here today to testify in favor of HB 2744 and raising the age for people to be able to buy assault weapons. My daughter is Maya Zamora, and being a mom to her and her brothers is the most important thing in my life. So imagine the devastation and horror learning that a teenager with an assault weapon has just entered your precious child's school and made every parent's nightmare come true. And for what? So many sweet children never made it home that day. Others, like Maya, will never be the same. Their lives, their bodies, their personalities changed forever. That type of horror did not just happen in Uvalde. And we have seen many other mass shootings week after week. And so many of them at the hands of young people. Young men with an assault weapon. The power of these weapons to harm and kill so many is a huge responsibility, and one I personally feel is too much for a teenager whose minds are not fully developed and who truly still need and deserve guidance on the big and complicated issues of life. I am a mother of a son in his early 20s, and he is a wonderful young man. But there is no shame in saying that he still needs or turns to his parents for advice and guidance on some issues, and we are happy to provide that support. But not all young people are that lucky and may not have people in their lives to turn to. That's where we as a community, as a state, as a country, need to put some safeguards in place for everyone's sake. Raising the age from 18 to 21 for purchase of these types of assault weapons is common sense and for the common good. What happened to my daughter's beautiful little body and her friends and teachers should never, ever have happened in the first place. And now it's on us to try and keep it from happening again. Please vote to make this important change. In closing, I want to thank Chairman Guillen and the members for scheduling a public hearing on such an important bill for Texas.
Members, any questions? Chair now calls Ruben Zamora. We have you registered as Ruben Zamora, representing yourself in favor of the bill. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Please continue.
Good evening, Chairman and members of the committee. My daughter survived, had multiple gunshots. So my name is Ruben Zamora. I'm here today in favor of HB 2744. First and foremost, I am the father of Maya Zamora, the father of 2 sons and a husband. But I'm also a proud American. I'm proud of our rights to vote and proud of the Second Amendment. But I'm here today because America has a problem and we have the ability to help in some way. On May 24th, last year, my then 10-year-old daughter, Maya Zamora, was shot multiple times while she was in school at Robb Elementary in Uvalde, Texas. This was supposed to be a safe and happy place for her, but instead turned tragic. The physical injuries and emotional trauma change who she is and who we as a family are. We are all so sorry for the loss that these families had to bear. It's hard for me to speak to y'all. And I have this written down, and I can't anymore. I just know that somehow we need to change something. 18-year-old, my dad was a Vietnam veteran. He taught us to sit down on the wall to make sure you can see your enemy coming. It has changed everything with this going on in right now, even right here today. Like Berlinda said, we got police officers, but you don't feel safe. I was trained when I was a kid to do that. It's changed everything. We're not safe anymore, no matter where you're at. I just hope all of y'all can find that will to do a change, which raising the age from 18 to 21. It was hard for me to be here. I know it's probably hard for you to change that, but we need to do a change because lives are being lost. Thank you.
Members, any questions? Thank you, sir.